suggested for a say test investigation, and you have done it and it has come out as COVID-19 detected in your blood, and if you have been branded as a COVID-19 positive, don't get panic. And out of say 10,000 people who are getting infected, more than 9,500 people will have these mild to moderate symptoms. And by the time to start with, start hydrating yourself adequately, the first point. And make sure you need to be, this is a very, very, very important thing, which we all would have done it during our childhood days, during the chickenpox infections, the isolation inside our house, and isolation means real isolation. And we need to stay inside a separate room, during our, past about 20 years back, 30 years back. If you're in your 40s and if you're in late 30s, you would have understood about the chickenpox. Now the chickenpox vaccinations have come, but previous days, people during summer would have come across the chickenpox. So what people do, they isolate themselves in a room, a well-aerated room. They take a good rest. They try to avoid using the utensils, common utensils. They try to avoid all the common bed sheets, towels, everything. They separate totally. So as simple as that. Something like the chickenpox shows you in your face and skin, like pustules and small bubbles. But here in COVID-19, it all happens inside your lungs. So this is the difference. Once you feel the early symptoms and you have been checked and diagnosed as COVID-19 positive or detected with COVID-19, don't panic. So start with these things. Only usually after about 3rd day or 5th day, the symptoms are there, you go for a test. And if at all working place where your corporate, if it is a corporate office or if it is a big office, they will make sure you are done with the investigation properly so that no other employees gets infected. So ultimately, once your symptoms are there and if it is positive, make sure isolate yourself properly. Cover yourself to make sure safeguard your family members first. And initial symptoms itself, you need to understand that the initial symptoms is there. Try to avoid having a physical contact with your children or with your family members, spouse, or with their parents or somebody. And try to, with running nose has started, it can be a common flu, it can be a common cold, it can be a influenza, it can be a H1N1. It can be anything, very, very simple viral infection also. The biggest difference between these common flu and COVID-19 is that the number of cases getting into the stage of pneumonia is very, very thin or very, very minimum with all these viral infections. But with COVID-19, the chance of there is a very high chance that more than about 500 people out of 10,000 population can get this pneumonia. Once pneumonia is there, the lungs will start it will start having a trouble in transferring oxygen versus carbon dioxide, and the lungs will not be able to collapse and expand adequately. It will become rubber-like consistency. It's something like a sponge. Lungs are like a sponge, but it becomes something like a hard rubber, and it will not be able to expand adequately. It will not be able to transfer oxygen from the atmospheric air into the capillaries, and this will make sure your oxygen saturation in the blood goes down gradually, and this causes a very critical situation and requires intubation, requires artificial respiration with the all the respirators and all. And to that extent, I'll talk about that next, and talking about the mild to moderate condition only. So first I told you adequate hydration, take a lukewarm water, having a proper make sure your mucosa is adequately hydrated. You shouldn't allow it to become dry, and that will erode the mucosa that makes the virus invade into your tissues and spread fastly. So hydrate yourself adequately, cover yourself, mask yourself with nasal area and mouth and particularly even including the eyes also, so that you don't spread it to the other people. Even on the day one of any primordial symptoms was there, you need to take care of yourself and take care of your family members also. And third, I told you, isolate yourself. It's very, very mandatory. Even if people say you have been checked as positive, COVID-19 positive, government people have come and told you you need to be home quarantined. Don't get panicked. Only thing, you need a separate space, separate room. Isolate yourself. Don't come outside. Isolate yourself. Keep it yourself in a very well aerated room, and make sure you know your kids, your family members, particularly old age people, if there are in your family. Don't allow them near you. Ask them to stay away for 14 days, 100%, no question at all. And as like an infection, like chickenpox infection, you need to isolate yourself very, very, very strongly. There shouldn't be even a single chance for a contact. Even utilizing the utensils or a cloth, a shirt or a banian or even a cap or anything, handkerchief, no, everything has to be separate. Everything has to be washed by yourself better. Or if you have a washing machine, segregate it and wash it yourself. Keep yourself safe. And normal detergent, normal liquid detergent or a powder detergent has a capability to kill the virus if it is sticking to the your dresses. And normal soap, any soap, if you are going to wash your face or wash your hands for about 20 to 30 seconds, that will make sure the virus is killed adequately. So there won't be any virus at all almost. And these are the basic things you need to follow. And aerating yourself, the aeration has to be adequate. And simple breathing exercise is very, very mandatory. And that will make sure lungs, even if there is some infection going into the lungs from the nose and the throat by a bronchus, it goes into the lungs will be able to cope up if there is adequate oxygenation happening in each and every part of the tissue, lungs, from the upper lobe, middle lobe and the lower lobe. And all expansion has to be proper. So do the breathing exercise.
Expand your lungs. Then gently breathe out through your nose and repeat these 3 to 5 times. Step 3. Breathe in through your nose, filling up your lungs, and hold your breath for 3 seconds, counting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then slowly breathe out through your mouth. Repeat this 3 to 5 times. The short duration of breath holding helps to open more air sacs in your lungs and also move secretions for easy clearance. Step 4. Take in a normal breath and force the air out through an open mouth as shown in the video. Repeat 2 to 3 times. Step 5. Take in a bigger breath and force the air out quicker than in the previous step. Repeat 2 to 3 times. You may experience phlegm coming up. When clearing phlegm, face away from others. Hold your phlegm in a tissue before disposing it.
And make yourself adequately supported with proteinaceous food. Protein is very, very mandatory for improving the WBC count as well as improving the antibodies which are secreted, which are generated inside our body. And these antibodies require protein or the amino acids as a base for the production. And say if you are a vegetarian, vegan, and try to have CHELLAs, try to have green gram, red gram, tur dal or say black gram, whichever the pulses, all the pulses have adequate protein sources. And nuts, it can be a groundnut, it can be cashew nut, or it can be say other nuts also. It all have adequate protein support which your body system can take care of itself in the mild infection state. And if you are a non-vegan, if you are consuming mixed diet, then don't hesitate. Go for a non-vegetarian diet also. And make sure, only important thing is that don't go very spicy. And spice, control yourself, let you go with a bland diet so that the spices does not irritate your already worn out mucosal membrane. and make sure your spices are mild and medium, and that will make sure there are plenty of spices which can support improving our immunity, but still you can take it in a mild manner repeatedly. That will make sure it supports your immune system also. And very, very, very important thing is that the chance for getting a secondary bacterial infection is very low. It's almost about 10 to 15%. Then if you are clean yourself, cleaning your surrounding appropriately, and if you are very living in an aerated place, then there shouldn't be any issue. And protein for vegans, even paneer, even mushrooms, all are okay. And make yourself adequately, with adequate rest. Rest is very, very important in any viral infection. Good food, good rest, and good sleep, and good hydration. These are the 4 things which are very, very important in COVID-19. Apart from this, we have already talked about the role of oncoban in reducing the oxidative stress in the cells, and including the mucosal membrane, how it can help the mucous membrane become, making it lighter, thinner, and that will make sure the secretions are brought out appropriately and adequately. There is no stagnation of secretion into the lung tissues, and that reduces the chance of a person getting pneumonia. And same way I talked about the drums up, 1 drums up a day will make sure you get adequate help in improving your immunity. And apart from that, we have already discussed about Virun. Virun is an immune booster. Particularly, it has extra antiviral support also. And whatever I told you regarding oncoban and drums up, there are ingredients which are accumulated into Virun. Virun will help you to tide over the situation. The mucosal secretions will be thinned out, and it will help to reduce the inflammatory mediators getting released in the lung tissue, thereby reducing the chance of viral spread into the lungs and making it as a pneumonic infection. So this way, you can, if you are COVID positive, and if you have been advised to be home quarantined or to be isolated in even COVID care centers, where there won't be any big ICUs will be there. So on the quarantine centers will be COVID-19 care centers will be like big halls where you are isolated with other COVID-19 positive people, and not to panic. Make sure you follow these things. Additionally, the breathing exercises, and follow the basic things whichever I have told you already, and that will make sure you will reduce the chance of you in the 500 out of 1,000, 10,000 in and come into this 9,500 who can come out of COVID-19 freely, safely, and safeguard your life also. And next is the moderate to severe cases.